Hey guys, it's Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com. Today we're going to learn an acoustic guitar version of Teardrop by Massive Attack. So now, if you know this recording, which most people do, it is a beautiful song. It's got some really great vocals in it, some cool music underneath it too that's really based around a harpsichord riff. So what I've done is arranged this harpsichord riff for acoustic guitar in standard tuning, and it's just a simple picking pattern. It's a good little exercise, really, and then it just has, we're going to recreate the piano chords that are played along with that with either single bass notes or bar chords a little bit later in the song. All right, so I'm going to work you through it, and just to help you know where you're at in the song, a lot of times I'm going to tell you the exact minute and second mark I'm at in the song, because sometimes it can be confusing where you're at in the verse or whatever. All right, so or the chorus or whatever. So let's start here with the intro. Now, this is a good opportunity to show you this picking pattern. Now, what you're going to be able to do for the entire time while you're doing this picking pattern, or how I do it, because it frees up other fingers to play the bass notes, is I use my pinky at the 3rd fret on the B string, and then my middle finger here on the 2nd fret of the G string. All right, now we're going to add that with the root note. I'll just show you this picking pattern real quick. Let's do it with the starting with the open A string. So in the beginning of the song, you're going to hear this. All right, so let me just kind of show you how to use that to show you the picking pattern, which continues the entire song. So we're going to start here, the downstroke on the open A string, then a downstroke on the G string, which you're holding with the 2nd fret, then an upstroke on the high E string, back down to the downstroke on the G string, so we have this. All right, now we've made it to the B string, we're going to do an upstroke. So now I'm going to do 2 downstrokes in a row, a downstroke on the G string, downstroke on the B, then an upstroke on the E. Now you'll notice when I'm doing this pattern, if you can memorize this pattern, what's going on there is I'm always picking in the direction of the next string that I need to pick. So you can see it's a downstroke on this open A string because I'm going towards the 3rd string next. Now when I pick that 3rd string, I need to go towards the next string I'm going to pick, which is in this case the high E. So I'm going to pick that as a downstroke as well because that takes me to the high E. And then when I'm on the high E string, I'm going to play an upstroke because the next string I hit is the G string. So I'm going to pick towards that string. So just always pick in the direction of the next string you need to play. So you'll have this. Let them all ring out, hold the notes down. Now we're going to do the picking pattern again. There's going to be a 1 note difference, just the very last note. Instead of going across to the high E, you just replace that. Instead of going, you're just going to go back down to the G string. Because of that, you're going to have to do an upstroke when you get to the B, and an upstroke on the G. So those last 2 there. So the whole picking pattern is this. Just repeat. All right, so that is the main pattern that you're going to play. And then later on the song, coming up right here, in fact, right when the main riff comes in the song, after this intro, when the root note starts changing, the pattern will stay the same this time, always ending on the high E string. So that's this part right here, which is as soon as the bass line starts moving, basically when the music kicks in fully. It sounds like this. All right, so what's going on there? Like I said before, we're going to start here on the A, the same thing we did before. So we did that pattern where we ended on the high E. You're going to pick the same pattern, except now you're going to start with a different bass note. Now you're going to move, instead of having starting with the open A string, you're going to start with this G here, which is at the 3rd fret of the low E string. So you'll pick that string, and then everything else is the same. So we have this, open A, then G. Now the note we're going to hit is the open D string, and then everything else in the pattern stays the same. Let's repeat that A, G, and D again. Alright, now we've made it to the verse. Now the verse is slightly different, where you're still using the same A, G to D, but you're going to go back to A to really end it. So it's really a 4-chord progression instead of the 3-chord progression we did before. So that'll make more sense when we get through it. So I'll play through the verse real quick for you. Now you'll notice that we're going back to rotating the ending note of the pattern to be in the high E string to the 2nd fret on the G. So I'll do the high E string off the A note, and then go to the ended on the G string for the G note. Up on the high, I'm sorry, that was the high E string, wasn't it? Then ended on the high E string for the D note, and ended on the G string for the A note. Alright, so the whole verse sounds like this. And you're going to take that progression and repeat it twice. So that's the same picking pattern we did before. A, then the G, this time ending on the 3rd string, then to that D again, this time ending on the high E, and then ending the chord progression on the A string again, ending the picking pattern on the G string, then repeat that A to start the group of A, G, D, A again. Alright, now we get to the chorus. Now the choruses are different lengths. So this one starts at the 1 minute and 26 second mark. This is basically when we're through playing this verse progression twice. We're going to go to this. Alright, so that is the same pattern now. We really just have to learn new root notes or bass notes. So we're going to start here with, after you've done that verse twice, you get to the chorus at the 1 minute 26 second mark. You're going to do the pattern starting with the 1st fret of the low E string. This is the rotating pattern, so we'll first end it with a high E string. Then you're going to go up to the G note here with your 3rd finger, so that's a good little finger exercise there. 3rd fret on the low E, pattern again. This one ending on the G because you're rotating back and forth. And then to the A, and you're going to have both patterns off this A. The one ending on the high E, and then pick it again, one ending on the G string. Now you'll see there's just some sound effects here a lot of times based off of just kind of an A chord of some sort. And then we come back in with the 2nd verse. Now when we get to the 2nd verse, the picking pattern always ends on the high E string. Chords are the same, the root and bass notes are the same, and you only play through them once. Then we get to chorus number 2 at the 2 minute and 5 second mark, which sounds like this. So that was a longer chorus. That's why we only played through the A, G, D, A in the verse progression. You only play through it once instead of twice like we did the first time. For the third verse, you're going to play it twice again. For that middle verse, you're going to play through it once, and then you get to this chorus, which is extended. So now, the great thing about this, picking pattern stays the same. You always end it on the high E string. So all we need to look at are the bass notes. This starts at the 2-minute and 5-second mark of the song. So we're going to the bass note will be the first fret of the low E. Always ending on the high E string there. Then the 3rd fret. Open A. Back to the F at the first fret of the low E. And then the open D string. So recapping that so far, F, low E, first fret of the low E, 3rd fret, open A, back to the first fret low E, and the open D, and we're going to end it here with the 3rd fret on the low E, and then the open A string twice, the pattern done twice off the open A. All right, now we're gonna get to the 3rd verse next. Once again, there's a little instrumental break here with some kind of special effects and stuff. And then we get to the 3rd verse. We're gonna play through that chord progression twice now again, and each one is gonna end on the high E string, the picking part. So it sounds like this, just to remind you. It's a great exercise and be able to find the strings there with those cross string picking and stuff. All right, now let's get to the basically the last chorus. Now this one's a little bit different because we have some just basic chords without any of the arpeggiation going on. Now this is the 3-minute and 19-second mark, and we are going to play just basically an F bar chord. Now you actually don't really need to do the full bar. If you just play the 1st fret on the low E, 3rd fret on the A, D, and then 2nd fret on the G. The chords used on piano when this is being played are very dark, and so you really don't want the full chord. It doesn't really just sound much like the song. So to make it sound more like the song, you don't want to use any open strings or any high strings. So I'm going to start here with just this major shape I just showed you. That's an F, and then take it up to a G, 2 frets higher, and then up to an A. Remember, this is at the 3-minute and 19-second mark. And then back to the F, back to the G, and then come back to the F. So we went F, G, A, all with the same chord shape, and then back to the F, go back up to the G. It's almost like you're doing it again, but this time just go, instead of going all the way to the 5th fret, just go back to the 1st. And then we start the picking pattern again. And things open up a little bit, and we start rotating again between ending on the high E and ending on the G string. So from there, after you play those 4 chords, of those chords, and you've gone back to that F, we go from there. All right, so that's starting with the E and then going down to the A, right? So, I mean, or the high E string and then ending on the G string. What are the root notes? A, then the 1st fret of the low E, then the 3rd fret of that low E, then the A. I'm just rotating the ending note each time. Back to the F, G, A again, back to the F, and then back to the picking pattern just done 3 times off the G. All right, now we have some more instrumental kind of computer effects there. And at the 4-minute and 38-second mark, we get back to some music and just to end the song. And it's the picking pattern is always ending on the high E string, and we're going to end it with just chords at the very end. So I'll play through it real quick. This is the ending starting at 4 minutes and 38 seconds. Here we go. All right, now I added a little bit of some piano hits there. Now in the actual recording, you just have the piano hit. So we're doing this picking pattern. We start with the F at the first fret on the low E, and then the G, and then he doesn't hit that G again. He just lets it ring. But I'm going to keep hitting it so it, keeps, it's the implied harmony anyway. Otherwise, it sounds like this. You can do it like that if you want to be just like the recording, and then you go back to the F, do the same thing, back to the G. Just not hitting the bass note each time. Or you can hit the bass note each time like this. Do the same thing when you get to the chords. After you've done that twice, the picking pattern, we go to the F and then the G. The first one is done with the piano hit, and then it just lasts the length of 3 Gs, and then it ends on the F. That's how it is on the recording. Or you can choose to just play the F and then hit all those 3. The 3rd fret, the G. Just hit it 3 times and then end it with the F. So it's up to you how much you want it to sound like the actual final recording and stuff. But like I said, it's a guitar arrangement, so it doesn't have to be exact. And if you leave that chord out, it might be kind of hard to tell where you're at. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.